Bragi, the Norse god of poetry, eloquence, and wisdom, is celebrated for his mastery of words and his knowledge of stories, lore, and the deep mysteries of life. Known as the god of skalds, poets, and storytelling, Bragi is an important figure within the realm of Asgard, revered for his intellect and poetic prowess. He is often depicted as a wise, dignified man with a long, flowing beard, and he is known for his enchanting ability to craft verses that capture the essence of heroism, love, valor, and even the tragedies that mark the lives of gods and mortals alike. In Norse mythology, Bragi is the son of Odin, the All-Father, and is sometimes said to be the product of Odin's union with the goddess Frigg, though other sources suggest his mother might be the earth goddess Jord. Bragi is also the husband of Idun, the goddess of youth and the keeper of the golden apples that grant the gods their immortality. The relationship between Bragi and Idun is a harmonious one, combining his wisdom and her role as the protector of vitality and eternal youth. Together, they represent the ideal pairing of knowledge and life's renewal. As the god of poetry, Bragi is endowed with the gift of inspiration, and he plays a central role in Norse society as the patron of poets, storytellers, and bards. Skalds would invoke Bragi before crafting their verses, seeking his favor to grant them eloquence and skill with words. It is said that Bragi's wisdom is deep and complex, and he often shares this knowledge through his words, which hold great power. His name itself is the root of the word brag, which means poetry or eloquence in Old Norse, and he is also closely associated with the ancient tradition of skaldic poetry, a form of verse characterized by intricate structure and vivid imagery. One of the most significant stories of Bragi in Norse mythology is his encounter with the giantess Gunnlod, a tale that emphasizes the importance of wisdom and storytelling. In this story, Odin, Bragi's father, embarks on a mission to acquire the mead of poetry, a magical drink that grants its drinker the power of poetic skill and wisdom. The mead was crafted by the dwarves from the blood of Kvasir, a being created by the gods, and the Vanir who was renowned for his wisdom. When Kvasir was murdered by dwarves, his blood was turned into the mead of poetry, which grants the drinker unparalleled poetic and intellectual ability. However, the mead eventually came into the possession of the giant Suttung, who guarded it fiercely. Odin, in his unending quest for knowledge, disguises himself and tricks his way into Suttung's mountain stronghold, where he encounters Gunnlod, Suttung's daughter. Odin persuades her to allow him 3 sips of the mead in exchange for 3 nights of his company. But Odin, ever clever, consumes the entire mead in those 3 sips and transforms into an eagle to escape with it. Some sources suggest that Bragi, as the god of poetry, is the first to drink from this mead once Odin brings it to Asgard, granting him his extraordinary poetic talents. Bragi's talents as a storyteller and speaker extend beyond simple verse. Known for his wisdom and composure, he serves as a counselor and diplomat among the gods. One famous myth that highlights Bragi's wisdom is the story of Loki's entrance into Agir's hall. At a feast hosted by the sea god Agir, the gods gather for a celebration, including Bragi and his wife, Idun. However, the trickster god Loki, who was not initially invited, arrives unannounced and quickly causes a scene by insulting the other gods. In this myth, known as Lokasena, Loki directs much of his venomous criticism at Bragi, accusing him of cowardice and challenging his bravery. Bragi, however, remains calm and responds with patience and dignity, attempting to keep the peace despite Loki's provocations. Even when insulted, Bragi displays his characteristic wisdom and restraint, refusing to let Loki's words disrupt the order of the gathering. While other gods eventually rise to confront Loki's malice, Bragi's response emphasizes his role as a god of composed strength and eloquence. Bragi's marriage to Idun is also a key part of his story, reflecting the importance of renewal and creativity in the pursuit of knowledge. Idun's golden apples are vital for the gods, as they keep them youthful and strong. In one myth, Loki, under threat from the giant Thjotsi, kidnaps Idun and delivers her to the giant, putting the gods at risk of aging and weakening. During her absence, Bragi, like the other gods, begins to feel the effects of aging, and he is among those who seek to bring Idun back. When Idun is finally rescued and returned to Asgard, Bragi rejoices along with the other gods, and her return signifies the restoration of life's balance and the preservation of wisdom and strength. Bragi's legacy in Norse mythology is seen in the reverence for storytelling, knowledge, and the power of language. Through his talents, Bragi connects the gods to their own histories, legends, and destinies, and he teaches them, and humanity, the value of remembrance and eloquence. Skalds and poets who sought to honor Bragi's gifts would aspire to master the art of skaldic verse, and they often spoke of him as the ideal poet, embodying the grace and depth of language. In a world where memory and oral tradition were paramount, Bragi's influence ensured that the deeds of gods and heroes would be remembered through the ages. In summary, Bragi is a god whose wisdom and eloquence mark him as one of Asgard's most cherished figures. His connection to the mead of poetry, his calming influence in conflicts, and his harmonious marriage to Idun make him a symbol of creativity, renewal, and the endurance of knowledge. His legacy reminds us that poetry, storytelling, and wisdom are gifts to be treasured, passed down from one generation to the next as the foundation of culture, memory, and the essence of humanity.